Elliott Schechter joins us each week to say how he would rule on situations that come up in your games, and he's with us again this week. Elliott, how are you?
Doing pretty well, thanks. Things are good. How you doing today?
Good. We're a little tired. We just got back. Just got back from the tour stop, and it was a whirlwind, but we're back. We made it back, so it was a lot of fun, and managed to make our way down the coast a little bit and get a little bit of beach time in there as well. So that was
Okay.
awesome. Um,
My old hometown. I hope you had a great time.
yeah, it was great. It was the beautiful, beautiful area. So I loved it. But now that we're back, we'll jump into another call the floor.
All
This
right.
one sent in by Kyle in Los Angeles. And Kyle says, I'm playing a tournament and am first to act on the turn. I bet, and player A goes all in for less than double my bet. The button says, I'm folding maybe. The floor is called, and when he arrives, the button tells him that he said, I'm folding maybe, no pause. And the dealer confirms it. So the floor rules that his hand is live and the button calls the bet. I'm not sure if it matters, but while he is fluent in English, it is not his first language. The floor does warn him to be mindful of what he says moving forward. And the floor says that grammatically speaking, it's the same thing as saying, I might be folding. But Kyle says, I think it's more like saying, I'm all in, just kidding. This just feels like the floor got it all wrong and wants to know what Elliott thinks. So, what do you think, Elliott?
I think people make jokes at the wrong time. I think everybody thinks they have a sense of humor until they get out in public or in front of people who know what funny is. Uh, yeah. Kyle, your instincts are right here. The floor did get it wrong, and your arguments are correct. When it's somebody's turn to act and they make a statement that is accepted as vocabulary of the game, such as pass, call, raise, whatever they say after that is only regarded if they're saying a number or an amount of a bet. Anything else is just extra syllables that are generally not accounted for in any way, shape, or form. Otherwise, there would be too many angles and too much cheating and not enough actual play of the game. So when it is a player's turn and that player says, I'm folding, the words coming out of his mouth after the word folding are irrelevant to whatever's happening. That is a fold.
Right.
I'm all in, just kidding is the same exact thing. I'm really unconcerned that you're joking. You said you're all in. It was your turn to act. Move your chips to the middle, please. There's no two ways to go about this. And this is not one of those, oh, he might not speak English well, or he was absolutely joking, I could tell, or it's grammatically correct English. I'm unconcerned. It was the player's turn to act. They used an action word that is accepted as an action word. They're going to be held to it. And most of us across the planet are going to rule it that way, I promise you.
I think that where we get into trouble is watching all these like high stakes games and YouTube videos and things where we see players like Daniel Negreanu saying, I think I'm going to fold here, but just give me, those kinds of things. And, or I'm probably folding, all of those vague things that, like to your point, mean nothing really.
Right.
But we see it, and so we want to mimic that, right?
And again, somebody saying time or just rather pencil, I may be folding here. They're thinking about something. I'm folding maybe is the wrong way to ever state something.
Right.
So yes, all the all the people on YouTube and the various poker channels are setting bad examples in a lot of cases. Please stop.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, those watching should be careful too, and should be aware of the rules that we have put in place. And this is one of the first rules in the long list of rules the TDA has agreed upon. Accepted vocabulary, accepted words, accepted action. And when you use these words when it's your turn, we're gonna bind you to it. We're gonna make you act accordingly. And the players in these very big games or very high end tournaments, they generally do play at a slightly different pace. But a lot of that is obviously made for video. I mean, right. The super hot roll events actually almost all use shot clocks, play very fast, and they generally don't put up with angles and any kind of time wasting. So this kind of thing in a Triton event would be severely frowned upon. They wouldn't put up with it.
Right.
So we shouldn't put up with it in our dailies or certainly in any event less than a Triton buy-in, which would account for 99% of all the rest of the tournament buy-ins.
Yeah. So essentially what we're saying, Kyle, is your thinking is right along the same as Elliott's here. So
yes, it is.
That you've got good company for sure.
Yep.
So thank you for sending that in.
Absolutely.
Before
Kyle.
I let you go, Elliott, I do have to mention, because I know he's going to be listening, and I told him I would ask you this.
Of course.
One of the floor at Seminole Casino, Coconut Creek, where we were.
Okay.
He asked me a question, and I said I would refer it to you. It was a situation where, and we're in a tournament, and it was a situation where a player, he called what he thought was what he thought the bet was smaller than it was. He called, it ended up being bigger. The floor made his ruling that he could either leave the chips out there that he put out there and fold, or he could call the bet. That was his ruling. But when the player said that, when he learned that it was a bigger bet, he threw away his cards. So no longer does he have his cards, but they're retrievable, they're identifiable and retrievable. So the floor is letting him get his cards back if he would like.
Mm-hmm.
The player wants to take all of his chips back and refuses to do anything different. His question to me was, does the TDA actually talk about what punishments are available in situations like that? Not so much about what the ruling should be, but does it talk about any kind of punishments?
Penalties. Let's use the correct wording here and description.
Sure,
we don't punish people. We award penalties when breaches of the rules or conduct are exhibited by various players.
That's true.
We award a penalty.
Yes, that's fair. Thank you for the clarification.
We're not a court of law. We are not the high school principal. We are not punishing anybody. That being said, I still don't have enough information to actually discuss the ruling, other than if the guy was putting in chips based on somebody's opening bet, and especially if he was the only other player, he's pretty much liable for the whole bet. So using your discretion is okay. It may have been one of those spots where using your discretion and not making him put the rest of the money in is fine. But generally, in a lot of those cases, that's very similar to the one chip call. Player A bets 5K, and player B, being the only other player in the pot, places a 1K chip in the pot. He's liable for the whole 5K. I didn't know it was 5,000. I'm really unconcerned. He bet, you called, we're done. But there is no mechanism to allow him to take any of the chips back. And if he refuses, we have the right to go into the stack to make things right. You don't just get to call as a joke, referring back to Kyle here.
Right.
So, yeah, uh, if a guy makes enough of a scene, you're going to award him a penalty based on behavior and a refusal to comply with the accepted rules of the game. So, the more of a scene he makes, the more hands you make him miss. If he obviously throws enough of a tantrum, acts like enough of a child, you can forfeit him out of the tournament. Feel free. Show him the door. Casinos are adult establishments. It doesn't mean you get to use R-rated language. It means you have to act like an adult because you're out in public. So, yeah, there are many penalties available. And don't be afraid to make the punishment fit the crime or the criminal.
But, like, to your point, there is a long list of penalties available.
Yes.
But does the TDA actually say, give you a guideline for this is for the least severe or the most severe? There's
Sure.
not a line in there, is there?
Yeah, we do speak about the penalties to be awarded, whether it's just a warning, whether it's one hand, three hands, a full rotation, multiple rotations, multiple levels, ejection. Yeah, those are outlined, and they pile up. So, I mean, if the same guys committing the same infraction, we obviously will make the penalty more severe. And if a guy's a serial case of just not following the rules, yeah, eventually it's going to lead to a ejection and very likely removal from the property.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You didn't know you were going to do a twofer, but I thought I'd throw that one in there because I knew he was going to be listening. And
it's happy hour. We're good.
Very good. Elliott, I appreciate you doing that. Kyle, I appreciate you sending that in. And if anyone has a call the floor that they would like to know how Elliott would rule, send it to podcast@anteupmagazine.com. Elliott, we'll do it again next week.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.